Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I am very, very excited to have R.A. the Rugged Man with me. He just dropped All My Heroes Are Dead, an amazing album. It's not often that an artist says it's going to be better than his last album, and Legends Never Die is one of my favorites, my friend. I think it's an amazing album, and for you to say that and then actually pull it off is fantastic. So thanks for doing this, not only because your music's incredible, brother, but because a lot of the messages amongst, the dirty jokes and the foul humor are really timely right now. And I just want to ask you, man, when did you start, I don't know, I guess questioning narratives? Because that's definitely in Legends Never Die. And then I think even more so in this, one of my favorite tracks on this is Angelic Boy, I think it is. It's the
Oh,
track
the
about the
third
school
verse.
shooter, and that's just
Yeah.
so deep and so relevant, and it hits on so many places that I don't think you could anywhere else because you're just so underground. So, thank you for doing this, brother. And yeah, so how did you start questioning things, man?
Well, I think I've always been that way. As a teenage kid, I was the anti-establishment kid that, I was a hip hop kid. Nobody was white boy going to the hood rapping. That wasn't going on in the 80s. I was like, everybody, oh, you hate your own kind. Oh, you N-word lover. Like I was hated just for rapping, in the 80s. And then what happened when you go corporate and you sign major record deals? I was a teenager. I had 9 record deals chasing me around, and I signed a deal to Jive, but I had Def Jam and Priority, all of them, and Mercury, Warner Brothers, and you get to meet everybody that runs every label, and you see the way I'm a teenage kid, and I see how they manipulated the minds of the public with these like nobody ass um not even real people. Like the whole image portrayed on the screen was the exact opposite of everything you ever knew about this person that they're putting on a pedestal and showing to the world. So at that young age, I'm like a teenager. I'm like, yo, how they acting like this, that, like this is all fake. This is all, and then you see the public start worshiping these people, and so I didn't, I still didn't know. So I made a song. Every record label sucks dick. Okay, boom, boom. But uh, it was like after that I started seeing okay politics and the military and the way they played with my family, uh, and I said, oh, that's not just the music industry. Like I'm thinking, okay, they make corny people look like they're not corny. Big fucking deal, you know. But I said, no, they do this with every aspect of everything that they're implanting into your mind, whether it's politics, whether it's war, whether it's product placement, no matter what it is. It's their job to manipulate the data, manipulate the information, and sensationalize it and make it look like it's something much greater or much worse than it is, or whatever. So yeah, it started off small, just being in the music industry. That answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, guys, you can get his album right now over at theruggedman.net. I caught mine on Amazon under $10. If you don't buy it, it's like a crime. I'm telling you right now, you can go test anything you want on YouTube right now. Your single with Afro just dropped, the music video. Your music videos are incredible on a budget, brother. I mean, from
Yeah,
medium
well,
midgets to this last one, to even taking shots at 6ix9ine, which are well deserved. I mean, I love how the media, this is my thing. You're talking about deep things, and the media wants to promote a
dumb down
snitch
everything.
pedophile.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They want to dumb down everything, and but it's sensationalism, and it gets clicks, and it's the biggest news story in hip hop. The guy snitched on all of New York City, snitched on all his people, became buddies with the feds. So and it was on every page of every newspaper, so fuck it. Why should we dead him when he's getting more press than anybody who could actually do the true art? Let's go with this news story that we could generate money off of. So and generate clicks. That's what it is. That's why Trump is president is the same type of thing. It's like, oh, he's all over the TV. What they say? They gave him $2.5 billion worth of free promotion, publicity. the news channels just complaining about him. It's like they what blew up Donald Trump and turned him into a superstar and got him elected. And it's the same type of thing with a Snitch Nine or any of these people. It's like they you keep talking about it, and the world knows the name. And I don't know how much accuracy that there is to this, but they always say, which it sounds accurate to me, but don't mark me at 100%. But they always said whoever sold the more Halloween masks in October always won the election. Like if Obama sold more, masks than Mitt, if Trump sold more masks than Hillary, if they said it's been going on for decades. Whoever, it's just a popularity contest. I can't say for 1,000% that that's true, but it makes 100%, sense.
No, I mean, Jordan Maxwell used to say that it's a C-election, not an election, and that they just want to see who you like best. But at the same time,
You
I think,
talk about the most. It's not even who you like best now. It's who you talk about the most. Same as like a Kardashian and a Kanye. That's how our politicians. Who do you talk about the most? Who will we talk about the most? You know.
well, I mean, Trump's a front man. I think you know that. I mean, but on the flip side, I think that the establishment, the predator class, if you will, is so disrespectful to us by putting out somebody like Joe Biden.
Biden.
I mean, media midgets. You say you want to
Yeah,
see the true racist. Take a look at Joe Biden. It couldn't be
yeah, he
more
was known
relevant than
racist.
right now.
He was known racist for decades and decades. But you know what it is. The media, beefed up Trump's resume for every day of your life. It's Trump, 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 Trump. So something horrible about Trump, something horrible about Trump. So Trump is so hated because the story is so every day in your face. Everything that Trump does shitty. Boom, 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 boom. So now they want anybody that's not Donald Trump. So they go, oh, Joe Biden. And they ignore any stupid asshole thing he's ever done. And then it's the weirdest shit is they put up the footage of him on C-SPAN fondling kids for 3.5 hours, and everyone's like, it's Joe Biden. He's from that era of politicians when they rub little girls' nipples and fucking lick them and shit, and like it's 3 hours of him fondling children, but it's okay because he's not Donald. It's like. So, and that's the problem with American politics too, is the two-party system. And then you vote shame anybody who doesn't vote part of the two-party system. So they have everybody programmed where you have to vote for two shitty, evil parties. You're not allowed to, if you vote for anyone else, you're just voting for the lesser, the more of the two, so it's like the whole, cliche that they say, well, we're voting for the lesser of two evils. So we're all just going to vote evil forever. Like let's just keep voting for evil. But whenever somebody's like anti-war and anything, they get fucking obliterated by the media. The media shuns them, turns them into the monster, turns them into the
Assad apologist.
Assad apologist, Russian, anybody that's anti-war, a rapist, whatever the fuck, Assange is a rapist, Julian Assange, he's not running, but I mean, everybody's a fucking, it's just crazy. They'll just destroy your fucking character, character assassination and smear campaigns against anybody that's anti-war. And I got to tell you, got to excuse me. It's 6 hours later here. I'm in Germany, and I've been sick for 5 weeks. I have some shit fucked up in my lungs, and I've been really, really, really sick, and I've been up with the kids since 6 in the morning. So I'm a little bit fried. So when I'm stuttering on my words today,
Yeah, so you don't have the Rona though, do you?
no, I don't have Corona.
No,
But,
just
see, but it's
some kind of
different here.
respiratory.
Like I'm in Berlin. What's funny? It's like America. They're counting people who died of Corona that didn't die of Corona. It's like, oh yeah, that's a death from Corona, and it's not. So a lot of it is. I'm not saying people aren't dying from Corona in America. Obviously, it's a fucking horror story. But I'm a conspiracy guy, so I kind of also think in Germany, since their numbers are so amazingly great, that they kind of lessen it. Like, because me, I got it. Like, if I came to America in this condition, they've been X-raying my chest. They say I have all these fucking inflammations, or they'd be like, Corona, Corona. They wouldn't even fucking ask no more questions. In Berlin, they're all like, man, I don't think you have it.
So
I think,
over there, do you have to because dude, I just went to a doctor's office the other day. I mean, for number one, they want to know if I was outside of the county. I'm in upstate New York, right? I'm getting out of this state. Like what they've done in New York is absolutely crazy. They probably wouldn't even have seen me. First of all, I had to go in with a mask, have my temperature taken. Then I had to answer like a questionnaire. I couldn't have had any of these kind of symptoms. and then we get going. And then we still have to talk through masks, man. I can't wait to get out.
That's similar here too, where they do like they make you sit outside the doctor's office because they say, oh, it's too many people. We don't want them sitting next to each other.
Mhm.
So you know how you got to wait for a doctor a bit. So they'll have you like I'll sit on the fucking street and wait for them to call me in. Then when they call me, I go, okay, it's my turn to go into the doctor's.
Mhm.
You have to put a mask on, so you put the damn mask on, and then and then but yeah, I think they're kind of like quicker to say you don't have shit here, and in America, I think they're quicker to be like you have everything, you're dead.
I
Corona did it,
mean,
you know.
I
So,
think they're
so
obviously it's a power grab, man. And to me, it's not a nation state power grab. Again, it's a predator class power grab. It's not a coincidence that Bill and Melinda Gates are putting on a thing at Davos with the Johns Hopkins University where a coronavirus outbreak happens from South America, and all the companies that are stepping in now, like Johnson and Johnson and NBC Universal and the CDC in China and the CDC in America, are all sitting there wargaming it and telling you they're going to take down posts on the internet, on social media sites, and then all of a sudden it happens. They do it.
yeah, of course, of course. And I'm not saying nothing. The shit I said about the corona with the numbers in Germany, I'm just I can't say that for a fact. I'm just saying in my head, like, well, maybe, the numbers are really great here, really terrible there. Maybe one's trying to make it lesser to make their numbers good, one's trying to make it worse to make their numbers better. I don't fucking know. But yeah, and look at Bill Gates. Yo, I know this girl for years. She put up a thing that was like, how dare you question like the angel of heaven, like she said, this is the man that did the most for humanity in the history of humans and saved like they really and said anybody who disagrees, you're an idiot and you're using the technology that he created to say these bad things about it, like you're not allowed to and I hit her up. I said, yo, this is super next level propaganda, the shit you posted. And she was like, she took it down. I said, no, you didn't need to take it down. I didn't tell you to take it down. I was just giving, that's part of conversation. I was giving you my opinion. But yeah, I was like, damn. It was like if you question him, you're like the dumbest ignorant fuck because it literally said in the paragraph, I wish I took a screenshot, that Bill Gates has done more for humanity than any man that's ever lived in the history of mankind. It did, like, I'm not even exaggerating the quote that they were saying.
Well, you know what? Is it that surprising in a world where like people were crying when Steve Jobs died because they thought iPhones might end? I mean, that's where we're at, dude. Like, it's not only like celebritard culture, it's this worship of technology above all else. And they think if somebody wrote a computer program literally fucking 30 years ago, they're some kind of sentient being and should tell us how to live, what shots to take, and basically obey everything they say. You have a great line about population control and Bill Gates in the depopulation agenda. I'm not even sure which track it is. You have so many good tracks on this. Folks, he's got Ghost...
The Mallet Mammon with Chuck D. That was the song, man.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a great track. I've been listening to it over and over and over again. But, I mean, you've got Ghostface Killer on this. You got Inspector Deck on this. In fact, the Ghostface track, man, is so old school Wu-Tang. There's so much on here. I mean, you've got gospel basically in here. You've got some pop in there. I love this album, and I just can't thank you enough. I mean, dude, this is like the best album I've listened to in at least a couple years. Not that rap has been that great in the past decade plus. I can mark like D. Antwoord as maybe the other artist that I was turned on to in the last 10 years that I enjoy. But I mean, dude, this album is awesome. And your track with Immortal Technique, why don't you talk about that? You cut a lot of JFK's infamous speech without using like the secret society thing as the highlight. You cut Pompeo into this, talking about CIA and how we had courses on lying, cheating, and stealing, while he gets a standing ovation afterwards. Yeah. Kudos to you, brother.
Laughing, it's funny, and that's what I mean. You got to be told to what to be. What's this culture called when everybody's pissed off every day? They wake up all pissed off.
What, the manufactured outrage, the cancel culture?
Yeah, outrage culture. It's like you have to be told what to be outraged about. Like if that Pompey speech was, by somebody that you're supposed to be outraged by, that shit would have been front page. No, like made a big deal out of the quote. But they get outraged what they want to be outraged by. It's like you seen it. You seen the whole Me Too movement with Elisa Milano. Who's the boss
Alyssa
chick?
Milano, who's the boss?
Yeah, she's like, I support Joe Biden, but I believe women. It's like, shut up, bitch. Come on. Like, they're such hypocrites. It's like, like honestly, and I'm a guy for that. I say, okay, research it. Let's look into it. Like, did Joe Biden throw this girl up against the wall and shove his hand inside of her without her consent? Yeah, he's running for president, and she's coming out now. Let's see what she's talking about. I agree with that. Don't automatically say she's true, but that's not what their whole shit was running on. Their whole shit was running on that believe women. If you don't, you're the son of a bitch, But now it's like when my candidate is accused, don't believe women. When your candidate is accused, believe women. It's like, how are you going to fucking politicize something like, rape, women being raped all over the world? Like, how are you going to politicize that into like, my people are telling the truth because it's my candidate? It's just gross, And I see people arguing like, and then they'll defend Joe and be like, "Well, Trump has this." It's like, yeah, they're both scumbags. Like, what does one have to do with the other? It's like, oh, that guy murdered a wife and kids, and then you go, well, that one murdered a wife and a kid and another kid. So let's let the fucking other child murderer off the hook, I guess, right? Is that what, like? It's just so stupid.
Well, I
man.
think that especially with the Me Too, it's so selective and manufactured. It goes even outside of politics. There is an overwhelming amount of evidence that Conor McGregor is a violent rapist who back in, what was it, January, or no, I'm sorry, December of 2018. Now, over a year and a half ago, beat and raped a woman so badly in front of people, by the way, that she had to have a tampon surgically removed from her cervix. And there's leaked WhatsApp messages. There's detailed articles overseas that name him as an Irish sports star. There was a leaked police memo when they actually arrested him in January of 2019. The guy's got 18 plus other convictions on top of it. There's a lot of evidence that even in the cowboy fight, to get him overseas, Trump had to pull strings to get him over. I mean, he's got another open rape investigation in there from 6 months ago as well. But the thing is, he makes a lot of money for Disney at this point, and a lot of money for ESPN, and a lot of money for WME Entertainment and the UFC. And I'm a huge MMA guy, but it just shows you that if they wanted to tear somebody down, you wouldn't have to do half of that and they would do it. But this guy's on Reebok commercials. He's on the front of video games. He's promoted to your children. And we're talking about somebody who's not been accused of rape once and not twice. More than that. More than that. You read through these
I didn't
articles.
even know anything about Connor. I just know that the guy's an asshole. I didn't
Oh,
know
it's
anything
beyond
about
that. RA, I'll hit you in a tweet thread. You won't believe the amount of evidence. We're talking about CCTV footage after the fact. Girl hospitalized for days. I mean, like
And that's not in any news. I didn't hear nothing about it. That's
she was offered
insanity.
$1 million payday and she turned it down, man. And this is over
The
6
other,
months ago.
the other shit is they do this cancel culture where it's like, the R. Kelly show came on, so you had to cancel his music off the radio, and then Michael Jackson had that documentary. Some believed it, some didn't,
Mhm.
and then so some places started canceling his music. But Harvey Weinstein was the biggest story, and why aren't we canceling Pulp Fiction, Lord of the Rings? He produced all of your favorite movies. So we're not going to talk about canceling his art, but get rid of him. It's like, so it's hypocritical shit. So are you allowed to listen to R. Kelly movies and watch Pulp Fiction and Lord of the Rings, or no? You know what I mean? Like so it's always this double standard thing where like, that's a little too much, because if you cancel Harvey Weinstein's whole catalog, you're fucking billions of dollars of all the great movies that the world loves. So we ain't gonna cancel that. That's not even an option. Nobody even brought that up or mentioned it. And then somebody, I brought it up once online. Well, he didn't direct it. Yeah, he's the fucking producer. He put it all together. He fucking helped cast it. He helped put everyone into place. He's the one who fucking got the director in most of the cases. He had more influence on these movies that you love Then, Martin Scorsese movies he produced. This is, so why are we not canceling Harvey Weinstein's catalog? If we got to cancel everybody else that, they'll be like, cancel Polanski. Yeah, cancel Polanski's catalog because it's one director. You could live without seeing 20 movies or 50. But how about Weinstein? You know,
I
you
know, I
get the
totally
point.
agree with
We
you.
talked about this too long already.
No, no, I listen. I get it, man. And the thing is that you want more than Weinstein to be brought to justice. You talk about Hollywood and corruption, and you even, you talk kiddie porn collections in this last album. People in power putting themselves in power, and on top of the issue of how many people Harvey Weinstein sexually assaulted during producing those movies in the light of getting you a part or getting you a job. It goes beyond that to the Bryan Singers of the world, that it's not just women, it's children. And, that's another subject that just doesn't seem to get broached in the mainstream. And that's another reason I love your album. I mean, your last two, you broach a lot of those subjects. I mean, you really go way
well, well,
deeper.
well, the thing is, you talk about subjects you feel, but a lot of these people have. I don't have a manager. I don't have a publicist. Publicist. I don't. I got the guys. Devin and Matt, who you dealt with,
Hmm.
and I don't have nobody saying, "Hey, listen, we're trying to get more views. We're trying to get more sponsorships. We're trying to get more this and that." I don't have a guy to put any of that placement in, a girl to put any of that placement in. So I just make the fucking music and I put it out there. Whatever the world says, they say. I don't have nobody stop. There's no like middle person to stop it. And I know people when they had deal, myself included, when you have deals, you say certain things of, hey, you can't say that. And that's why at Jive Records, I was banned from my own fucking building. Like I wasn't even allowed to go inside of my record label because they would come in my sessions and say, oh, don't say do this, do that. And I'll be like, yo, I'll fucking kill you, get out of my session. But that's when you're signed to a corporation, you can't do that, unless you want to just fail, you have to, hey, okay, well, how are we going to make this work for everybody? And everybody I knew who was ever on a major, that's what they had to do. And it's just like same thing if you take Hollywood money to make a movie. You have this beautiful written script that is a classic. You know it, and everyone that reads it knows it's a classic. They're gonna put 5 writers on that shit, rewrite this, change this, take out all the charming moments, take out all the parts that really made it work as a character study, and just put the little, okay, what's the shock moment? What's this? And take out everything that made the story work. And that's what well, if you want to direct it, this is what you're directing. So that's part of the art of the world is, when the middlemen step in, they think money. So the money cock blocks the art most of the time.
It seems to be that way, man. I mean, I think you should be enormous. Obviously, I mean, not only are you a great storyteller, you're a great rapper. I mean, on top of everything, you have so many multiple flows. You're probably quicker and sharper than anybody else out there. But the emotional tracks, like Daddy's Halo on the last album, and this one where you deal with the afterlife, with that title, I believe. They're incredible songs. I mean, do those ones mean a little more to you because they're personal, and you're not just thinking about lyrics, you're telling a story. I know your track with David Myers, you put that video together, also a great video, but especially the afterlife on this album, man, that seemed like a really heartfelt track.
Yeah, well, the afterlife, you know, that's another thing. When you don't have a middle person, you could just really say whatever the fuck you want. Uh, so if something's feeling a certain way and the world's looking a certain way, you could paint that picture and just release it to the world. Like, here, this is this. Is there is what are we living through? Are we dying a slow death? Is that what life is? What the fuck are we living for? Or is there more? Do we have strength to? It's like you can just take your pen out and there it is. So Afterlife was a personal record because obviously I talked about the loss of a lot of family and a lot of loved ones, and I painted a picture in it. And that particular song, the way that song happened, this girl I know, she used to come out to my shows, her and her brother, and she was cool, and she used to sing, and her mother died, so she sang that song on her Facebook page. A couple years later, and she called me crying, "Oh, my mom passed." Oh shit. And then a couple years later, her brother calls me and says Sarah's dead. I said, what? So he posted the clip that the girl made singing to her mother who had passed about heaven. And I don't know, I wasn't even like this with her, but something just made me bawl. I started crying, hysterical. It was crazy. And I was just like, damn. And like, I wasn't like super tight with her. I just liked her a lot and I liked the family. I think we're cool, supportive fans. And, we'd hop on the phone sometimes. I tell her, go to the studio, and yeah, so I said, take that vocal and let's make a beat out of that and let's rock to it. So then when I started writing to it, I started writing off of a girl who was freshly deceased. It was like the thought of that. And then I started putting all life into perspective and death into perspective. And so that's how that song came together and why it's really getting a response, like people saying like, wow, this one really is helping me out through these times. And this one's really touched me. This one's making me cry. And I think that's because when I wrote it, I was like, I had just lost this person who, like I said, it wasn't even somebody I was connected to close, but it was like, I guess it was because I guess you're losing your mother, you're singing about heaven to your mother, and then your brothers, but it was just everything, the whole picture. And I was able to put all the loss I had in my life into it, attached with her being, the angel on the shoulder while I was writing it. So it was crazy. It was a crazy one.
I mean, I love that track, and even with as personal as it is, I think it's in the third verse. You even bring a little political. You talk about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. You talk about no race, and that's what I love because you can have a really spiritual track like that, and then you can be saying the word retard, and you're not allowed to say that anymore. I mean, that's one of my favorite tracks too, where you're just spitting off and popping off on millennials, calling people fat. I mean, it's so true. I feel like blunt honesty is something that's really lost in society. You used to be able to hang out with people and be like, yo, man, you're getting fucking fat. And now it's like you're shaming somebody. I mean, it's the craziest thing.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? Well, I don't know if it's funny or what it is, but on Legends Never Die, I had a song called Still Get Through the Day, and it was, loved. I
Love
go
that
do
track.
it all over the world, and they all sing the song all over the world. But the word retard becoming a bad word was something new. And when I wrote that song, I said, my sister Dee Dee was born mentally retarded. She was a beautiful woman at 26, but now she's dearly departed, and people like, oh, his sister doesn't need to, be called a retard. And I was like, you fucking retards. This is my sister. I loved her. I changed her diapers since she's like a day old, and I raised her. And she couldn't talk or walk. And I watched her body half die my whole life. It's like, oh, Dee Dee's in the hospital. She might die. 6 years old, 8 years old, 15 years old. Like my whole life was this sickness of this little girl. And then, I said, my little sister was born mentally retarded. She was a beautiful woman. And people are offended by that fucking line. It's like, yo, this is the world we're living in. Like, and the people who are offended by the line, like, do you think there's any handicapped child in the world that was like, oh, he called his sister that? I'm hurt by the. No, of course not. The people who were hurt by the line are people that didn't grow up with people in their family with sicknesses. I had a brother, a sister, a nephew. They all died, and so you're gonna judge me on if I'm respectful the way I said, which when I wrote that song, I wrote it when my sister passed. I know the song didn't come out till 2013, but I believe my sister died in 2009, and I wrote it right after that. But it was probably the first song I wrote, and then it was sitting around. I said, "Yo, that goes on the album. That's a classic. It don't matter what year that comes out." So I put it on the album anyway. But so I wrote it in 2009. In 2009, it wasn't even a second thought in my head. Like, my sister was born mentally retarded. She was a beautiful woman. That could be offensive in any way possible. Like, it never even crossed my mind. And somebody would, oh, how dare he? Like, that's the world we're living in.
Yeah, no, I
And
caught it in a bar.
offended
Like,
except for people who don't even have affiliation. That just want to be offended. Like, shut the fuck up.
and that's
You know?
why hate speech is amazing, man. It's another great track, and again, you're talking about cancel culture. They're canceling words, They're canceling words. Forget. I mean, that's the craziest thing, and I get it. Time moves on, but then when I see
Well, the
like
last line in hate speech, I said, if you want to ban words that you think are bad words, it's backwards.
yeah,
Hate speech. It's like, ah. Yeah. Yeah, but that one was one we want to have fun with. It was like, because when I came up, there was it was a rapper called Just Ice, and he started off his song. He said, "This record you're about to hear contains explicit, dirty lyrics like fuck, shit, ass, bitch, your mother's dick, and all that shit." And then I grew up, 11, 12, 13 years old, the Tipper Gore era, where they
Mhm.
were telling rappers, oh, this is, and heavy metal, which I wasn't even a heavy metal guy, but like guys like D. Snyder were on the front lines fighting, and Frank Zappa, this is the devil's music. It was almost like the 50s again when the Catholic Church was involved in everything. And they all came in and tell everyone what they're doing bad. So it was the hate speech record was kind of like a throwback of, when you would fight. What was that?
Oh no, my buddy's knocking on the door. He just came in. I didn't want him to interrupt the interview. No,
Oh,
you're good.
he-
Yo,
yeah,
keep
but
going, man.
yeah, that was some Illuminati hand signal shit.
You caught me. That's what I was doing. All right.
CIA,
Yeah,
yo,
you're getting
CIA, what's
initiated.
up? Yeah, we got him.
Well,
No, no,
well, let's talk about that because you talk a lot about like, I guess the Illuminati, secret
CIA.
societies, that kind of symbolism. You even got you got a couple Kubrick references in this album, and the Rothschild mansion, obviously, Eyes Wide Shut is that movie that supposedly is showing the Illuminati in those. How deep does that
Well,
go?
it
Because
was,
you also
Eyes
well,
Wide Shut. Kubrick was onto all of that shit,
yeah.
but his the hardcore cinephiles, they think they're too, above that, those thoughts, the Illuminati and the secret societies. The whole film's about that.
Hmm.
But it's about, divorce and no, it has so much shit in there that you're trying to pretend it doesn't have because you don't want to think Kubrick's one of those conspiracy guys, But no, Eyes Wide Shut, they filmed part of those scenes in the Rothschild
Yeah.
mansion. That's why I said that. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but they filmed it there. So
No,
if
I
that's
know. I
Kubrick,
know they did. I thought it was a brilliant
yeah,
reference.
yeah. So if that's not Kubrick trying to say something, what the fuck is you idiots?
Well,
If
I mean,
that's
you
him talking
you
about divorce, shut the fuck up.
you
You
look
know?
at not only the secret society aspect of it, but then even the child trafficking aspect. When he goes in there to go get his costume, and the
Oh yeah,
guy's
yeah. The
daughter.
girl hiding. Yeah,
Yeah, the guy's
hiding.
daughter is coming on to him, and then he gets mad at him because he hasn't paid him. But then he comes back to return the costume, and two Japanese businessmen have now paid, and now it's all buddy buddy. See, it's not cool to bang my daughter who's underage if you're not paying me, but you're paying me. It's okay, and that's a reference in that movie almost nobody gets. I mean, that
Oh yeah.
movie, it's brilliant, absolutely, and so's the album, my man. What's your favorite track on the album? I know that's tough, but what do you think if you had to choose one that everybody needs to listen to right after this interview? What would it be?
Oh, oh yeah. See, the thing is, I made it as a collection. Like, if you see the first opening track, I start off with the horn. I had my cousin's husband come in and so it's opening up, and All My Heroes Are Dead with Reggie Osei to Combat Jack is one of the podcast masters, and he passed away young. So I started off like that, and then when I close it, I close with Sean Price's daughter rapping, and then we go into the dedicated to her father, rest in peace, Sean Price, and then we go into the afterlife, and then we end it with the horn from the intro of the song. So I made, it's a long album, it's 22 tracks, but two interludes, 20 tracks maybe, but so I made it as a it's almost like if you ask the director, like, what's your favorite scene in the movie? What scene should they watch? You go, I don't know, listen to the
All
fucking
right, I'll tell you
album.
what. Why don't you give me your favorite verse by somebody else on the entire album? Not even,
Oh,
not
Cool
yeah.
G Rap on Dragonfire. Cool
Which
G Rap.
on
Yeah,
Dragonfire? Okay.
yeah, that's yeah. I love that. Cool G Rap's my idol. He's my favorite rapper of all time. Uh and I love Inspector Deck on EKNY because we were painting a New York City documentary picture on that. And he
Yeah,
really
1988. I remember it. You started off with Tawana Brawley, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great track. And you just,
rape scandal. Tawana, my engineer did that too because I just started rape scandal. Tawana Brawley, and it was like, yo, for some reason, how come that it's the fucking word rape? It should hit hard. it should come in rape scandal. That's a big way to open a verse. And I said, what am I doing? Should I perform it differently? Should I go back in the booth and hit it hard? And he was like, rape scandal. I said, fuck it, that's it. You got it. Just so it sounds dope. But yeah, Inspector Deck really killed that one. I loved him on there. Yeah.
I mean, your guest list on this is amazing. DJ Jazzy Jeff, Onyx. I mean, like you said, Chuck D earlier, Ghostface, Mastakilla. I mean, one of my favorite albums of all time, even though it's Raekwon's album. I mean, Ghostface is all over. Is Only Built for Cuban Links. Probably one of the
Cool.
maybe my favorite rap album of all time. Not sure. How do you, as somebody without a manager, are you just making all your connections that you've had over the years and saying, come on this track? I mean, because it's masterful, man.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying you do a masterful job. First of all, the tracks without anybody are incredible. I mean, they're top of the line. But then when you bring people in, it just seems like everybody's part is just killing it. There's no slouches in here. You track with Afro, Golden Oldies, with Atmosphere. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, I can't hype it up enough, guys. I've been listening to this album.
Thing, and I hate blowing my own horn or whatever the fuck it's called, but rappers are competitive, and rappers know if they're gonna rap on my album that the raps are gonna be rapping. We're not gonna be on no half-ass shit. You can't half-ass shit on my records. So honestly, because rappers are fucking with me, a lot of them came with A+ game. Because okay, RA, we're gonna get down with RA album. RA's a fucking murderer. He's a lyrical killer. So we got to bring the A+ game. So I think that's why. That's not the only reason. Also, I got some of the greatest rappers that ever lived. So I can't. Oh, it's because of RA. Yeah, it is. A lot of them are bringing an A+ game, but they're able to bring an A+ game that's higher level than all these motherfuckers out there. So I like to rap with the greatest rappers that ever lived, and I like to get scratching from the greatest DJs that ever lived, and I like to rock with classic legendary producers, Prince Paul and Psycho Les, and some new school cats too. But yeah, it was a lot of work, this album. If because you read the credits, you see how many instrument players and how much instrumentation is on there, and live horn sections and flute sections and opera singers and choirs, and we had a lot. We worked really, really fucking hard. Even something as silly as the song "Hate Speech," the song we were talking about, where we're talking about just random wild, foul shit. That had opera singers, horn sections, 3-4 different, beat makers playing little instrumentation on, piano play it. We really, really go hard on these fucking records.
I mean, even on Legends Never Die, you rapped against Mozart, right? Amadeus Mozart. I mean, what's that, Underground Hits? That's probably one of my favorite tracks on the whole album. I mean, dude, like you said, this is a top to bottom amazing album. Other than hitting on the Rothschilds, eugenics, depopulation, the police state
verse too. We forgot Immortal Technique verse. Jesus. I want more than anything to do a video with Immortal Technique for that. And we had it planned. We had the date locked in and everything. And the Corona shit fucked up. Look at this painting behind me. That's the mother of my kids got that at Costco's. She had it for years. Looking at it behind me right now, conspiracy's gonna start to come back. That looked like a Tony Podesta painting.
Yeah, no, it's Lilith. Yeah. It's Illuminati symbolism.
Lady. That ain't no Tony Podesta, John Podesta painting.
Immortal Technique, another artist that's kind of done it all himself. Probably my favorite album of his is The Third World, man. That's with Green Lantern. That whole album is just something different. And don't get me wrong, Revolutionary Volume 1 and 2 are great too. But man, something about that, especially the Latin flavor on it, you don't get in a full album. It's another one I can listen to top to bottom. So I was pumped when you did that. And that's the one where you sample, I think, both JFK and Pompeo. So
yeah,
brilliant stuff.
And Tech is rapping what he's rapping about. I don't want to interpret what he's saying on his verse, but I was doing, some defending of the whistleblowers on there. Assange and all of those guys. I wasn't like naming names, but if you read the text to it, I think we made it pretty clear.
No, I think so
That's it.
too. I think you say Snowden somewhere in the album. I mean, you take
I know
on.
I mentioned Snowden on the album, but yeah, I'm looking at the lyrics here on Who Do We Trust. It said, expose crimes of the power structure, enter the fire, because the truth is now treason to the U.S. empire. U.S. meddling in almost every foreign election, see where the next drone headed and civilian dead in the Yemen wedding. Barely reported because the weapons were exported from the politicians in the Pentagon. The Saudis bought it and the babies and the children were slaughtered. The authorization, altercation, deplorable demoralization. Obedience to authority, colonize the minority. Social norm is to conform to the immoral majority. White superiority, secession of separatism, the terrorism of American exceptionalism. Go to Plan B, be free, fuck the TV, fuck the PD, fuck the Tuskegee BD, grave plot, soldier pop, corpse rot, spin over, Monsanto weed killer, non-Hodgkin lymphoma, whistleblower, men are afraid of, labeled a threat, a traitor, executive legislator trying to suppress your behavior, intelligence interrogator collecting your metadata, condemning the messenger and censoring the educator. CIA feed the propaganda to the television. In the next edition, the pundits preach it in repetition. Loyal to the monarchy, hereditary or elected. Fuck a royal family and fuck a president selected. Intelligence, understanding, So
Killing
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Killing it.
That's just me. That's just me talking it with a big chest cold. But
Yeah, exactly. Guys, did you just hear that? I mean, again, if you haven't sampled anything, go get it right now. aritheruggedman.net. Like I said, Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, it's all there. You know what kills me, man? You're not on, like, not that I can go to a bar right now. I'm leaving the state to hopefully find somewhere where I can go to a bar, but like touch tunes. I'm always trying to put like Ari the Rugged Man on in a bar. That's what you got to get. Like, I don't know how you do that, but without a big label, because it's tough to get Immortal Technique and all those other tracks on there as well. But dude, again, you're so relevant right now. Just in the verses you talked about Monsanto, you talked about non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. That's a hot topic right now. I mean, that's one of the things that shows me that if you push back hard enough, eventually the truth can come out. And you got to keep pushing, right? I mean, I want them to lose those lawsuits, and I mean the karma of them merging with Bayer, the big drug company, right?
yeah, of course.
Right beforehand, and maybe possibly financially gutting them both. They're going to fight it to the death, but it shows some cosmic reality. And in that Ed Kocha thing, you talk about HIV/AIDS, and then you talk about Ryan White. People don't remember that, but you talk about a bad blood transfusion. A lot of people don't remember that also Bayer was injecting hemophiliacs
Yeah,
with factor 8, which had live HIV in it.
yeah. Yeah,
So
that sounds like the most fakest conspiracy tinfoil hat shit of all time, but it's not. It's a fact. Like if you say, yeah, Bayer was putting AIDS in people, obviously not AIDS, but you know what I mean. They'll
yeah,
be like, you crazy person, yeah. Like anything. You say, oh, the United States government shot down, a plane full of children and civilians, on a commercial flight in 19, what the fuck year was it?
what,
Yeah, right.
TWA?
And then just go fucking research the shit. All this shit is real. Like nobody's making this shit up, But like, they just, if they haven't heard it, from their friends or on their Twitter feed or from the media or whatever, then it's crazy people talk, And then they feel stupid that they don't know it themselves as they find out it's real. So they'll be like, well, who cares about that now? It's like, Jesus, It's like nobody wants to fucking learn. They just want to know everything. So yeah.
Did you ever think that we would be at a point where, you were talking about Assange and the whistleblowers, where it's like you, Roger Waters, and maybe two other people in the entertainment industry
Oh,
defending free speech?
no,
Because
it makes me sick. It makes me sick. I can't believe it. Like I don't know how the fuck that happened. How did it happen? Where like, and then you're looked at like some bad guy if you defend free speech, because then what they'll do is they'll say, oh, you're defending Nazis and you're defending. No, nobody's even fucking defending Nazis. You fucking idiots. It's not even nothing about Nazis. It's about humanity. It's about if something's revealed, if evil is revealed, let us have the option to reveal the evil without being threatened to be fucking tortured, mentally, physically, and thrown in a fucking cage for the rest of your life till you're dead. Like let's be able to be free enough where we can reveal evil or show the world, hey, this is a criminal act from a government. We should be allowed to show the world, hey, look at this criminal act that the government did. But now, it's illegal. You can't do that. Or they'll throw you in a fucking cage. They'll torture you. They'll treat you like a fucking animal. They'll treat you worse than any fucking serial killer in the history of time. And you've never done a violent crime in your fucking life. And then what happens is our people come through and they all defend it. They defend it like, oh yeah, it's a good thing what the United States is doing because that guy's a piece of shit. That guy sucks. So I'm glad they're gonna let him die in a fucking jail cell for doing non-violent crime that exposed evil. you know?
And that's the craziest thing. And, you look at somebody like Assange, he's not even a U.S. citizen. And now he's not a U.S. citizen. They're going to try to extradite him here with a false 14-part indictment. You look at the case, and they're trying to paint him up as a cyber terrorist. He didn't even hack anything. That's the next thing.
They're saying because he had a conversation. He persuaded Manning to. They talked about doing it, so he did it. What the fuck are you talking about? He's a publisher, and he's like, hell yeah, I'd like that story. And this is what I said on the other dude's show the other day. I said, so where does it end though? Because are the people who published Julian Assange's publishing, are they also criminals too, or just Julian, just the first publisher, or is it second, third, fourth? Like when are they allowed to say, no, you're not a criminal for publishing this information because somebody else published it before you? Is that what?
Well, look at it now.
What?
It goes even a step further now in the United States, right? You have a trial, Ukraine Gate, whatever you want to call it. You have a false Russia Gate. Instead of focusing on the actual emails that were leaked by WikiLeaks and the fact we could get into Podesta and his brother and the pool email alone in a second. But what I want to say is they criminalized people within government, basically, for saying a name. I call him Erica Caramello Bar because I can't say his real name. And out of the 1,200 plus YouTube videos I have on this channel, the one that they locked after it was demonetized, then remonetized after review, and then pulled completely was when Louis Gohmert on the congressional floor said the person's real name who was the supposed whistleblower because you weren't allowed to say it on the internet. Then a couple weeks later, Rand Paul says the same name. He puts it up in a thing. C-SPAN's video gets pulled. And now, post-political, who cares what side you're on, because I don't like either. It's not about left or right. It's about right and wrong. You get to an era now where it doesn't matter if you're a liberal or a conservative. If you're a doctor that goes against whatever the WHO or the CDC is saying, they pull your shit.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, because the powerful, the internet, what happened with the internet? The internet started off as a tool where we could all go on there and tell the world what the fuck we see. Some people are fucking liars on the internet, but, the most powerful people on the internet are the liars. So, we're going to villainize the unpowerful liars on the internet and say they can't speak, because what happens is when truthful information gets through the cracks, or an information that goes against a narrative that the powerful liars are trying to tell the world, now they're able to take them down and go, oh no, don't let that out. And then what happens is everybody fucking defends it. Everybody defends it and says, oh, it's okay to take these lunatics off the internet because they're harming people and they're, making people think different things that aren't true, because what you guys are telling us is the truth. But what those bad guys are telling us is not true. So take them off the computer, those bad guys. That's the world we live in. And it's like, yo, come on, man, And
the thing is, there is no accountability, right? They prop those people up as authoritative sources. No, they're authoritarian sources. And it doesn't matter how many times they lied to us about weapons of mass destruction. It doesn't matter how many times they lied to us just recently about Russiagate. It doesn't matter how many times they lied about human experimentation on citizens. You talked about the Tuskegee experiment. That's the tip of the iceberg. I mean, that is literally the tip of the iceberg. Yet the media pushed all those narratives. They pushed gassing of people in 2018 in Duma, And only through WikiLeaks and the OPCW leaks of the people that actually wrote the report do we know there was no gas attack there. It didn't matter that people like Pearson Sharp were on the ground the next day, and nobody had seen an attack, and nobody had any chemical burns, and they had one of the kids literally with his dad saying, no, I didn't get hit with a chemical attack. None of that mattered, and it still doesn't matter, because we're still bombing people in Syria and Yemen. And no matter how much Trump says we're going to get out, all of a sudden something like that happens, and the missiles we send to those regions are very fucking real and taking lives every single day. And we just walk through it like it's no big deal, like this president isn't the true drone president. You thought Obama loved drones, and he fucking did. This guy can't get enough of them, and it's not even reported in the media, man.
Yep. Well, because that's the only time the media likes Trump is when he's fucking drone striking and killing people. They're like, good president. At least for this is the first time he's ever looked presidential because he bombed some shit and killed a lot of people. But then anything else, they'll be like, oh, he said something really stupid and ignorant. That's what everyone's offended by is Trump says dumb shit or says something ignorant. And it's like, okay, so he said something terrible and offensive, and that'll be in the news for 3 weeks. But if he fucking bombs and drone strikes the fuck out of children and babies are fucking dead, silence, crickets. Nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Like which one's more horrifying? Saying something horrible, saying something offensive, or murdering babies? Which one should be the big one where everybody's fucking outraged about? The murdering babies one, I don't see no celebrities talking about he murdered baby. No, I don't see that. I don't see them saying that about Obama. I don't see them saying it about nobody.
And then on the flip side, the people that want to defend him on everything, they want to attack him until he's a war guy, everything. I say to myself, look, against Hillary Clinton, I voted for the guy, but I voted for the guy knowing a few things. Number one, absolutely a misogynist. And I know you love the misogynistic lyrics, but let's face it, this is a guy that's on his third wife, that's cheated on everybody, that you had to know already bought sex, that said some crude things about women. You had to know that already. He ran beauty pageants. Number two, he's a gangster. He literally created Atlantic City. Do you think the casinos pop up in New Jersey without the help of organized crime? So you knew that about him too. Three, he's been an actor the entire time I've been alive, from WWF appearances back in the day, to bit parts in movies, to being on Oprah, to eventually the reality show. So you knew you had an actor, gangster, womanizer as president. And you know what? Still leaps and bounds above Hillary Clinton. I was like, hell, I'll take a fucking roll on this guy. But that doesn't mean you defend everything he does because they lie about him. And how do you get that through your friends' heads, that you're not, for somebody or against somebody every time? It's actually based on their actions.
Yeah, well, I didn't vote for Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
But I'm also not one of them guys that judge like, you voted for this person, you must not be down with me. It's like, whatever. Motherfuckers have their own reasons to do whatever the fuck they're gonna do. But
sure,
I never had faith in that guy from day one. It's like you said, he's a cartoon character. Well, you didn't say that.
But no, I mean, that's basically what he was. He had his own game show, like board game as a kid too, like the Trump board game. He is a cartoon character. I guarantee. Listen, but what I do find ironic is that at least my generation, growing up in the late '80s, early '90s, even to the late '90s, Trump was always thrown into rap lyrics as some kind of hero because he'd made money, as some kind of icon, and that's flipped.
That I hear people say that all the time, like, well, you all loved them before and now you don't. But the thing with that is, people weren't looking at Trump to run their country and run their life. They were looking at him like, I want to be like that guy because he's rich and he's got more, like the same way they look up to rich rappers and rich celebrities and, Floyd Mayweather throwing the money at the screen, so they were looking up to the rich guy, they want they're the American dream. The same way they look up to Scarface, the coke dealer in a movie, it's like, they want to live that fake fantasy life of boats and women, and so I see people say, oh, 97 rappers used Trump in their lyrics before, but then after, but now he's talking about a whole different game, and he's talking policies and and stuff that a lot of people don't agree with, and like, when he was talking about like arresting criminals and cops bumping their heads on the fucking roofs of cars and shit, it's like, come on, Trump, but also on the flip side of what you were saying is I do agree where when Trump does something okay, I'll say it publicly. I say, well, that was all right, But then you'll get fucking bombarded by like everybody in the police, like you're a Trump supporter. No, no, I'm not, motherfucker. No,
Exactly.
but I don't think that's a bad thing that he did there. And the same thing with Obama. Like I wasn't an Obama supporter, but when he did something okay, I said, yeah, okay, I rock with that. But he's still at war with 7 countries, bombing, drone striking 7 countries. So there's more flaws than not.
But when he
And
commutes Manning's sentence, you have to give him credit. I said the same
exactly,
thing.
that's what I always say when Obama, 6 months left in office, and he let Manning go. I was like, go Obama. You got to give him love for that, And then this administration came in and put him in jail and fucking kept him in jail for how many months? And oh, you won't testify against. They kept him in there for not cooperating against Assange, and it's like, oh man, the guy already let the guy go. He was going to commit suicide, I think, at one point.
I
Too.
mean, several times. But again, this is far from over. We'll find out in September what's really going to happen, because if Assange actually does get extradited to the United States, it's going to be a kangaroo court, and it'll be the worst thing ever for free speech. Because right now, with the counterintelligence,
they're gonna lock up Assange.
I
He's a
mean, if they
dead
don't
man.
kill him, he might die
Yeah,
before he even gets
that's
here.
what I'm saying. I just said that he's a dead man.
Yeah.
If it's not locked up like an animal in a cage, it's dead. He's a dead man. He has no life. His life is gone. The only chance, and I don't want to say that because that breaks people's hearts. But I'm just saying that's he's in this fucking monstrous, powerful structure, and I don't know. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Don't mark my words.
Mhm.
Hopefully, I'm wrong. And I said it the other day. I said I think his only chance is if like 4 years down the line or 8 years down the line, if we get like a fucking human being, in office.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. I mean,
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
they have such disdain for us that somebody like Tulsi Gabbard, that's just the slightest bit anti-war, they just change the rules every time she qualifies to come in for
That
the.
was sick. The Democrats are gross, man, because Tulsi was like, she got enough places for this to get in the debates. They're like, no, they just change shit
Mhm.
because they know Tulsi would eat up Biden. She would eat up all of them. Tulsi's a fighter. Tulsi's a tough chick, and she's a fighter, and she's smart, and she's educated, and she's young, and she's physical. If they gave her the proper stage, her fan base would have grown and grown and grown. But they deaded it from day one. They said, nah, she's a threat. Get her out of here. Anti-war candidate? No fucking way. Get her out of here, I mean, imagine what Tulsi would do to Biden and Trump in a fucking debate. Tulsi's a fucking little pit bull, She'll bite their fucking faces off.
Well,
A
imagine what a
strong
paper bag
woman.
would do against Biden in a debate. I mean, he can't, he's barely, that's the other thing. He's visibly turning senile. He can't even address it because, Don Jr. started tweeting out some of the videos of him with the little girls and then Instagrammed calling him a pedophile. So he had to address it in one of these things. And he's like, when I'm sitting down with the kids, I'm like, I didn't see you sitting down with any kids in these videos, man. I don't know what you're even fucking talking about. But again, there's no one that's really going to challenge him in the media. All right, you've done an hour with me. I hope I can have you on again. I really do appreciate it, brother. I want to let people know that I am fully demonetized on this platform. That's why we do the GoFundMe. Remember, I am a documentary filmmaker. Loose Change, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, Shade the Motion Picture, all free in the documentaries playlist section. You got to go get All My Heroes Are Dead. You can do so at ratheruggedman.net, where there's a lot of actually very cool packages on top of the CD. Like I said, Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, all available. What would you like to leave my audience with, brother? And again, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, and I was a little groggy at first on your show. I was trying to drop knowledge, but like I said, I've been sick, so I was like, oh, I like to be a little clear-headed. But Gotta Be Dope. That's the new video that's out. It just dropped a couple days ago. Go see the video. Gotta Be Dope. I got a video called Legendary Loser. That's really dope. And a video for Wondering. And a video for the intro to my album I did called The Introduction. Watch the new videos off the new album. Go buy the new album. Or go stream it. Whatever the fuck you want to do. But go listen to the new album. If you're a hip-hop fan, a real hip-hop fan, a hip-hop head, you're not going to be disappointed.
You're going to love the album. I promise everybody out there, anybody that listens to this is a banger, straight through, amazing, amazing range. And hopefully some of the older women, I'll say this, I got a 60-plus crowd in the analytics. Maybe it's not going to be your thing every time, but get that David Miles track. Buy a couple of the MP3s, get the Afterlife. You're really going to enjoy it.
A couple songs on there for the old 60-year-old women that you might not like, but there's a couple you will like. So all the old 60-year-old women, go listen to the Afterlife. Go listen to Wondering. Go listen to Firstborn. I wrote that song about my daughter. That's the only ones for the 60-year-old women, I think, on the album. Maybe Golden Oldies.
Golden Oldies, a good one, man. Lemonade's a popular drink. Still is.
Yeah. I'm just thinking for 60-year-old women.
R.A., thank you so much again, brother. I hope to have you on soon. Thanks again, bro.
All right.
Later on. Guys, that is R.A. the Rugged Man. Pretty awesome. Just an awesome interview. Remember, you can support me over on the GoFundMe, the Rockfin. I just had a blast. I hope you guys loved the interview, and I'll see you on the flip side.